Welcome to your Thrive Era podcast, a show for high achieving women who are done with burnout and ready to reclaim their time, energy, and joy. I'm Shannon Logan, mom, wife, coach, and entrepreneur for over a decade. I know what it's like to juggle it all and still feel like it's never enough. But everything changed once I developed my set protocol. The simple yet sustainable way to take back myself, my energy, and my time. If you're ready to break free from burnout and finally thrive, you're in the right place. Let's dive in. All right, welcome, everyone. I have an important question for you today. Have you ever found yourself saying yes to things you don't actually want to do? Maybe filling your calendar with obligations that don't actually excite you, weekend commitments, in-law requests, after-school activities, wondering why your life doesn't reflect what actually truly matters to you. If so, just know you're not alone. So many of us high-achieving women feel like we're constantly juggling everything, career, family, responsibilities, and still feel like something's missing. And most of the time, that something actually isn't productivity hacks or better time management. It's clarity around what actually deserves our time, our energy, our focus. You see, this is where our own individual non negotiables come in. Your personal non negotiables are the foundation of a life that feels aligned, and as a result, just feels easier. Without them, life feels chaotic and overwhelming in my experience. But when you define and commit to them, oh my goodness, do things shift. You see, that's because decision making becomes easier. You have less decisions to make. I love decreasing decision fatigue. Huge benefit. Your schedule starts to align. And most importantly, you start living in a way that feels right for you. So, in today's episode, we're going to dive deep to identify your own personal non negotiables and the 3 steps so that you can start living by them. And the 3 steps so you can start living by them right now. Plus, I'll walk you through the biggest benefits of having clear non negotiables. Plus, I'll walk you through the biggest benefits of having clear non negotiables. Things like clarity, simplicity, and calmness that all come from knowing exactly what you stand for. All right, let's dive in. So, before we get into defining your own negotiables, I want to share a little bit of why this is so personal to me and so important. Trust me, I've not always had clear boundaries or non negotiables in my life. Actually, it's been the complete opposite. And for years, the better part of my life, I was trying to do everything. Started a business when I was 29, grew my career, went through a divorce, got remarried, worked on showing up for my husband, showing up for my family after we had our daughter, checking all the boxes, grew my business, was super successful, everything on the outside looking good, but I still felt really drained. And I kept thinking, maybe I just need to work harder. Maybe I just need to be more productive. Maybe, here's the fix. I just need to be more disciplined. But no matter how much I accomplished, my tank always felt like I was running on empty. And I know so many others who have felt this exact same way. Everything changed when I hit a rock bottom at age 35. And it was the second one I hit. And the first one I hit was at 29 when I started my business, got divorced, and stopped drinking all at the same time. Uh, and then at 35, I was remarried to an amazing man. I owned my business, which was a fitness studio. I was pregnant and COVID hit. And so you can imagine running a fitness studio in COVID and being pregnant. Um, I got a very strong, swift dose of reality. And everything changed when I realized that my exhaustion wasn't because I wasn't doing enough. It was because I was doing too much of the wrong things. I was spending my energy in ways that didn't align with what actually mattered to me. I was trying to stack up to be what everyone else wanted me to be. And that's when actually I had to pause, stop, and reset. And the whole idea of my whole woman reset coaching program came to mind. You see, I built the set principle, self, energy, and time. Now, if you dive into each of these, self, who you are, what you value, and what you truly want. energy, how you fuel your body and mind so that you can show up powerfully and also fully present. And then time, how you structure your life to reflect your own priorities. And this is where it all starts, is with the self. You have to start with your own self. If you don't know who you are and what matters to you, it's impossible to create a life that feels fulfilling. That's why today we're going to start with one of the most powerful tools to help you get there, which is your own non negotiables. And I'm going to walk you through simple steps so you have them by the end of this short episode and you can start living with clarity right now. So I want you to think of your non negotiables as your personal compass. They are the guiding principles that help you decide what's actually important, what's actually worth your time, what's actually worth that headspace. These aren't just nice ideas, okay, or things that you wish you would prioritize. Non negotiables are lines that you will not cross. They are commitments that you make to yourself that protect your time, energy, and peace. This is why it matters, because most high achieving women don't struggle because they're not doing enough. They struggle because they haven't defined what's worth doing. So they're expelling all of this time and energy on things that is not actually fulfilling them. When you don't have clear non-negotiables, you end up to saying yes to things that drain you. You end up to overloading your schedule with obligations that don't align with the goals that you want to have. And you end up feeling constantly stretched too thin, exhausted, which ends up leading to resentment. But when you have clear non-negotiables, your decision-making process gets simpler. You're no longer second-guessing everything, or you're not feeling guilty for saying no. Instead, you can confidently protect what matters to you, what matters to your family, what matters to your coworkers, to your business. So let's ask the question then. How do you define non-negotiables? Well, you start by getting clear on what truly matters to you, not what you want to stack up to, and not what other people think, not what society tells us. You spend some time reflecting on these important questions as they pertain to you as an individual. Start with, what qualities do you admire in others and why, right? This can reveal values that you actually hold down deep. Might be things like integrity, kindness, ambition, honesty. Start with those because they will be almost a reflection of what's important to you. And then I want you to ask yourself, when do you feel the most authentic? What are you doing when you feel that? Okay. Think of moments when you feel aligned, energized, at peace. You're almost like in the flow of things. Where is that? Who is that with? What's present in those moments? Next, I want you to think of the time you were the happiest. What values were present in that experience? If you have kids, I know the birth of our kids is actually at the top of those lists. Think about it from a day-to-day standpoint. When you have found a lot of happiness in just living in the day-to-day life. Maybe it was a time you felt freedom, connection, or purpose. What values made that moment feel so meaningful? For me, when we go to our summer house in Maine, I just feel so aligned and connected and authentically me for a lot of reasons. The pace slows down. We're in nature with the people that mean the most to me. And so just those three things right there give me a really good idea of what my foundation should be built on, no matter if we're at our vacation house in Maine or if I'm back here in the quote unquote day-to-day grind. The next question I want you to reflect on is, when have you felt uncomfortable or out of place? What values were missing during that point? It's just as important to identify the positive moments and the negative moments because both stand out to help you have a better understanding of who you are and what you need. If a past experience made you feel uneasy or drained, it likely clashed with one of your core values. And then the last overarching question is, if you could live your dream day without any shoulds, what would it include? No pressure, no obligations, just a day that reflects the real you. What would be a part of it? What would you leave out? Now, I know we all have to work, we all have jobs and those kind of things. But even taking time to reflect on that is going to bring out those core values for you. Because if you're someone that says, man, if I had no obligations, I would just go for a hike all day long. There are two things that come out there: moving your body and being outside, and probably being unplugged. So you could dive into aspects of that, right? So just take some time and answer those questions, because they'll really help you uncover what matters most to you. And from there, we can start defining your own non negotiables. And this is the exact same process I walk my clients through in my coaching program, the whole woman reset, where we take them step by step to uncovering the amazing self that they are, that oftentimes has just gotten buried in the day-to-day obligations and whirlwinds. All right, so we know your non-negotiables are rooted in core values. If you're unsure what yours are, then ask yourself, like, why is this value important to me? How does this value show up in my life currently? What would my life look like if I fully honored this value? Now, here's the thing: values, there are hundreds of them. You can go on Google and type in values and you'll get lists. What I like to do with my clients is I give them a default list of about 10 or 15, and I have them highlight ones that stand out. And I always say, you can add more to this. This isn't the end all and be all list. Feel free to add ones in. And we take the list of 10 or 15, we bring it down to 8, and then we bring it down to 3 to 5. And the ones that really stand out for you, the ones of saying that are clear, specific as possible, right? So think about that. If you were to go on Google and print out, it could be homework after this episode, right? To go on Google and print out that list, you're going to want to narrow it down. 3 to 5 is good. I have 6 on my wall back here in my office. Mine are health, family, faith, freedom, authenticity, and growth mindset. Those are my rooted core values that everything else stems out of. It makes my life really easy because I can have that as my filter to run things through. And we want to get specific here. The more specific you can get, the easier it'll be to identify. So example, instead of saying, I want to prioritize my health is going to be a non-negotiable for me. Let's filter that out a little bit more. Let's change that into, non-negotiable is I move my body every day for 30 minutes. That's how I prioritize my health, right? So now I move my body for 30 minutes every day is a clear, defined non-negotiable. Keep in mind, like, that might be a spin class one day, or it might be 2 15-minute walks with my dog. But I know for me as a human being and where I live and what I stand for and what makes me feel good and makes me feel centered and calm, and I'm taking action towards that 2.0 version I believe God put me on this planet to be, I need to move my body. It helps my body feel good, but it also helps my mind and my spirit. Okay, so these things should be clear and specific. They also need to be actionable. These should be things that you can actively implement, not vague ideas. You can see with my example of health, that is very oriented. And make sure also, guys, they reflect what's important to you, not what others expect. This is some of the most darkest ways people end up trapped and suffocated and just feeling like they can't figure quote unquote life out because they've built their values or the fence around their life around other people's expectations, around what they think others want them to be. And there's no faster way to get burned out than trying to measure up on the measuring stick that isn't really about you. So that's why you got to take the time and reflect on your own life and go back through those questions that I asked when halfway through this on, like, qualities that you admire, what you do when you feel the most you were the happiness, the times you were the happiest, all of those, because that's going to give you a very good idea of where your non-negotiables and core values are. So once you have 3 to 5 that are clear, specific, they're actionable, right? Then we need to set boundaries to protect them.
we need to have an idea of how we're going to make this our roadmap and we don't cross the lines that we laid out. Because that's another way to just start feeling like crap about yourself really quickly is to say, I'm going to make this commitment to myself, this non negotiable, I'm not going to break it, and then to break it. That's going to tell yourself, your subconscious, and your conscious mind that, like, you're not worth it. You're not worth following through, showing up for, and taking investment in. So let's set you up for success. And as you build out these core values, as you build out these non negotiables, these boundaries, these red lines in the sand, make sure you have a plan on how to implement and protect them. Example, non negotiable for me is I need 7 hours of sleep every night, minimum. That's minimum. I'm barely worthwhile if I don't. So a boundary for me is I have no screens after 8 p.m. That's for me. I'm not saying that's what you need to do, but after I put my daughter to bed at 8, I leave my phone in my office. I have no TVs in my bedroom, and I have no screens. That way, I have time to unwind. I have time to talk to my husband. I'm not binging on Netflix to keep me up. And, I get up at 4:45. So it's really hard for me to keep my eyes open past 9 p.m. if I don't have screens with all the blue lights and information flooded at me. So that's a boundary. That boundary helps me follow through on my non negotiable of prioritizing rest, 7 hours of sleep. Okay. Let's say you have a core value of personal growth. And for you, you made that into, hey, I'm going to do some kind of personal growth every single day for 30 minutes. And that's oftentimes some form of reading. Then you're going to schedule that in to your calendar, into your week, into your day, just like you would a meeting. You're going to respect it like it's a meeting, right? Because oftentimes if it's in our calendar, we're more likely to do it. So it gets blocked in, it gets protected, it gets a perimeter, a fence around it to help you be as successful with that non-negotiable as possible. Maybe, a core value of yours is family time and you want to be present and engaged with your kids and your spouse. Well, a boundary is going to be no work, emails, or social media during dinner. A boundary, right? Well, first of all, that can't happen if you don't have your phone with you. So maybe you come home, you walk in the door, you put your phone in the drawer until after dinner. And that way, your attention is fully on the people in your home that you care so much about. So working backwards and finding out non-negotiables built off of our core values, and then building our perimeters, our boundaries, our fences around those things to make it much more likely that we can easily and successfully follow through. Because when we keep promises to ourselves, it's a form of self love. It's a form of showing ourselves what we're worth. It's a love letter to yourself. So let's do a quick recap. Today, we talked about how non negotiables are the pillar of who you are, the standards that protect your time, your energy, and your well being. Without them, it's easy. It's so easy. Gosh, it just happens automatically to feel scattered and stretched too thin. So, to start defining your core values, your non negotiables, start here. Find out the top 3 to 5 core values that you have. Make them clear, make them actionable, non negotiable that you can put into your daily routine. And then set boundaries around them to protect them. I want to challenge you to go one step farther and let the people in your circle, the people you're closest to, let them know what they are. Because once you start to communicate them, people will start to respect them. It may take them a little while. You might get a little bit of pushback. But once that is explained, communicated, then people know what to expect. And you don't have to set them as often. That's a little bonus tip there. I want to thank you for joining me today, and I would love to hear what those non-negotiables for you are. Feel free to share them with me. I would love to hear more about what is setting you up for success. You can find me at Coach Shannon Logan on Instagram, and always feel free to email me, shannon@coachshannonlogan.com. That's it for today's episode. If this hit home for you, don't just let it be another thing you hear. Take action. And the best way to start? Download my free masterclass, The High Achieving Woman's Escape Plan. 3 steps to reclaim your time, energy, and self. In this exclusive session, I'll show you exactly how to save over 5 hours a week, stop burnout in its tracks, and live in alignment with the real you. Click the link in the show notes and grab it now. And if you love this episode, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a friend who needs to hear this. Until next time, keep thriving.